Liberal Cory Bernardi has called for a foreign political donation ban as Sam Dastyari faces further scrutiny. "If we don't want foreigners giving money to our politicians, we can just make it illegal. Unfortunately, the reality is a little more complicated, and the short answer is we may not be able to just stop them from donating." Concerns about the influence of foreign money on Australian politics were raised after Labor Senator Sam Dastyari was found to have asked a Chinese company to pay his bills. Since then, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull flagged banning all corporations and unions from donating, but it may not be that easy. The main reason is because individuals are not the only ones impacted by government decisions. Businesses and other groups can also suffer the consequences. Some argue that blocking any particular group, including unions, from donating money interferes with their freedom of communication, which Australia's constitution protects. This view has been backed up by a legal case involving Unions New South Wales in the High Court. The decision means it's probably not possible to change Australia's laws so that only individuals can make political donations. Last week, Malcolm Turnbull said ideally Australia would only allow individuals on the electoral roll to donate to political parties, but the High Court decision shows this is probably not possible. Whether you can stop foreign donations is a bit of a grey area. You can limit freedom of communication, as long as there is a good reason. Some believe banning foreign donations could be justified, but it's unclear. So we're stuck. As Professor Rory Medcalf, head of the National Security College at ANU, wrote in the Australian Financial Review, Australia stands out as one of the few countries in the Asia-Pacific, or among developed democracies worldwide, that allows significant foreign funding of political parties. But just because it is unclear whether or not we can ban foreign donations, it doesn't mean we can't do other things. As The Guardian reported, we don't even know how much foreigners donate to political parties because they are not separated from Australian donors. Isolating them would be a good first step. It's also possible to put a limit on the amount of money they are able to donate. Some have also noted that donations of over $13.200 are only published once a year, and this is often after elections are held and the money is given. It's also possible to transfer money across different states and territories, so it's harder to figure out who's really making the donation. Push for Chang. Labor has promised to introduce legislation as soon as practicable to force disclosure of donations over $1,000, down from the current $13.200, and ban donation splitting between branches of parties. It also wants to prohibit anonymous contributions above $50 and stop foreign donations entirely. With the majority of Australians and the 226 senators and members of parliament in support of donation reform, it is paramount that you as Prime Minister support reform. Quote, Mr. Shorten wrote last week. The Labor leader also wants to ask a parliamentary committee to look into real-time disclosure of political donations and whether limits should be imposed on candidate contributions. Senator Di Natale also wrote to Mr. Shorten, offering to work constructively with both parties to bring about changes. Former Prime Minister Tony Abbott has also outlined a plan to ban unions, companies and overseas entities making donations to Australian political parties. We need to look long and hard at restricting donations to real people on the electoral roll. Quote, Mr. Abbott told Fairfax Media. It remains to be seen whether Australia's political parties are really serious about fixing the system.